Most people like to drink hot drinks like coffee, tea, or soft drinks after a meal. For example, if you drink a coffee, the coffee contains caffeine, a chemical that stimulates your body. Caffeine is a legal drug. What is a drug? How it affects our body? Drug is any substance that changes the body or mind or both works. Alcohol, heroin, and cannabis are some examples of drugs. Drugs can be classified as legal and illegal drugs. Legal drugs are those can be legally sold, possessed, and used, often with certain restrictions. For example, caffeine, a stimulant found in drinks like coffee, is a legal drug. Illegal drug is a drug that is forbidden by law. Heroin, cocaine, and cannabis are some examples of illegal drugs. Both legal and illegal drugs have chemicals that can change how your body and mind work. Drugs can be abused. Drug abuse is the use of drugs for purposes other than those for which they are meant to be used or in excessive amounts. On the other hand, when a person uses drugs frequently, it leads to addiction. Drug addiction is a disease affecting how the brain works, which then leads to compulsive drug seeking and using behaviors. Once a person is addicted to drugs, the person cannot manage work or function, and the body no longer works without the drug. For example, if a person is addicted to caffeine, the person cannot work unless the person takes substances that contain caffeine. There are three main types of drugs. These are depressants, stimulants, and hallucinogens. Depressants are drugs that slow or depress the function of the nervous system. They slow the message going to and from the brain. Depressants affect concentration, coordination of the body, and slow the ability to respond to situations. Alcohol, cannabis, and opiates are some examples of depressants. Unlike depressants, stimulants speed the central nervous system. They speed up messaging to and from the brain, making you more alert. Stimulants can cause increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, increased body temperature, reduced appetite, and sleeplessness. Caffeine, nicotine, and cocaine are some examples of stimulants. The other groups of drugs are hallucinogens. Hallucinogens distort sense of reality. A person may see or hear things that are not really there, or see things in a distorted way. Nausea, panic, paranoia, emotional and psychological euphoria are some effects of hallucinogens in the body. Marijuana and LSD, or D-lysergic acid diethylamide, are some examples of hallucinogens. Different drugs affect our body in different ways. The effects associated are vary from person to person. These effects can be physical, psychological, and can include dependency. Drug use can lead to risky behaviors. When a person is addicted to drugs, the person is more likely to have an accident. This may lead to physical damage, loss of organs, or even death. In addition, it may lead to different types of violent actions, difficult to sleep, difficult to think, difficult to reason and remember, and other health problems. The psychological effects of using drugs include paranoid behavior, hallucinations, confusion, anxiety, depression, flashbacks, loss of interest in friends and family, and different activities. Drugs also create the state of drug dependency in the body. Drug dependency is an adaptive state that results from repeated use of drugs. In addition to the user, drug use disorders have an effect in society. The disorders contribute to medical conditions, disability, and death as a result of accidents or diseases caused by worsened drug use or high rates of suicidality. Drug use disorders can cause social problems like housing instability, criminal behaviors, and the transmission of sexually transmitted infections. In addition, drug addiction creates burden on the family. This burden can be emotional, economic, family instability, effects on parents and relationship distress, effects on the developing fetus and children. For example, alcohol use during pregnancy can affect the development of the fetus, causing birth defects and problems in child development. Children with drug use disorder are at high risk for abuse, physical problems, poor behavioral or impulse control, poor academic performance, psychiatric problems such as depression or anxiety, and drug abuse. Drugs can decrease cognitive operations, making it difficult for the user to develop a functional set of values and ideals. Reduced cognitive efficiency also leads to poor academic performance and a resulting decrease in self-esteem, contributing to instability of the individual's sense of identity. Drug abuse has an adverse effect on the economy. Many drug abusers are unable to hold full-time employment. Absenteeism and decreased productivity are some of the problems that are associated with drug abuse. Drug abuse has also an effect on health of the individual. People with addiction often have one or more associated health issues: lung disease, heart disease, stroke, mental health conditions, risk of contracting infections like HIV, hepatitis C, a serious liver disease, and cancer are some of the health problems associated with drug abuse. One of the most used drugs is tobacco. Tobacco is made from the leaves of tobacco plants. When a person smokes tobacco in cigarettes, cigars, or pipes, the person absorbs toxic and cancer-causing chemicals that affect health. Smokers are categorized as active and passive or secondary smokers. An active smoker is a person currently smoked at least one cigarette a day. Passive or secondary smoker is a person who never smoked but inhaled the smoke breathed out by active smokers. Tobacco smoke contains more than 7,000 chemicals, and from these at least 250 are known to be harmful. Among the 250 harmful chemicals, 70 can cause cancer: nicotine, hydrogen cyanide, lead, formaldehyde, arsenic, tar, ammonia, and carbon monoxide are some of the chemicals found in cigarette smoke. Both active and passive smokers are affected by the chemicals from cigarette smoke. The chemicals that are found in cigarette smoke cause different health problems. For example, nicotine narrows the veins and arteries, thus damage the heart and slow the movement of blood and reduce the amount of oxygen reaching to feet and hands. Tar coats the lungs like soot in a chimney. Cancer-causing chemicals make the cells grow too fast or abnormally. This can result in cancer cells. Smoking can also lead to breathing problems and chronic respiratory conditions, heart disease, stroke and blood circulation problems, diabetes, viral and bacterial infections, dental problems, hearing loss and vision loss. In passive smokers, cigarette smoke causes several health problems. For example, in children it causes asthma attacks, respiratory infections, ear infections, and sudden infant death. In adults, it can cause stroke, nasal irritation, lung cancer, coronary heart disease, and reproductive effects in women. Involuntary exposure to secondhand smoke increases the risk of heart disease and lung cancer in people who have never smoked. There are different ways to prevent the effects of drug and drug abuse. One of the means of preventing drug and drug abuse is education. Drug abuse education should be mainstreamed in educational institutions. Educational institutions, home, workplace, and religious institutions are settings to teach the community. In addition, family-based prevention programs should be introduced to enhance family bonding and relationships. Prevention programs should include teacher training on good classroom management practices, such as rewarding appropriate student behavior. Designing research-based prevention programs on drug abuse are some of the mechanisms to prevent the effect of drugs in the community. Attend to the following questions. What is the difference between illegal and legal drugs? What are the adverse health effects of cigarette smoke in the body? Legal drugs are those that can be legally sold, possessed, and used, often with certain restrictions. Illegal drug is a drug that is forbidden by law. Cigarette smoke causes several health problems. These include cancer, breathing problems, chronic respiratory conditions, heart disease, stroke and blood circulation problems, diabetes, viral and bacterial infections, dental problems, hearing loss, and vision loss are some of the health problems caused by cigarette smoke. In general, drug abuse and addiction can cause serious health problems, social and economic crises. Therefore, attention should be given for prevention of drug abuse and proper use of drug.